This is my first live. Hi, everyone from Zarely. I'm so excited to see you all. Yay, there's some people here. Hi, welcome this morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy. We're going to wait for a few more people to join. Good morning. I am Empress. I am a former ballerina for San Francisco Ballet, and I'm here to sing a little song while we wait for my guest, Myles Thatcher, who recently got promoted to a soloist in San Francisco Ballet, and I am so excited about that. So we're going to chat with him today about what it's like being a soloist during this crazy time. It's a weird pandemic, so but we're all in this together. All right, I'm going to sing a song. This one's called We Own This Crown. I wrote this. It's an empowerment anthem. It's for all of us. It's a coronation for each one of us. It's a self-coronation, actually. When the queen walks in, the oceans part, now the games begin, and we all dive in, dripping with diamonds, and a hint of sin, hanging from a chandelier, energy vampires waiting to feast on fears, can't see her shield, invisible force field. I've sown, I'm not alone. I'm seeing from every side. Shadows are made of light. This is home. Now on this ground. Now on this ground. Now on this. As the ballroom spins, the heartstrings play like violins, tangled in a trance, a single life in many hands, and the lines are blurring, and the roots keep falling from the underground. Finally ready, now seeds I've sown. I'm not alone. I'm seeing from every side. Shadows are made of light. This is home. Now on this crown. Now on this crown. Now we own this. We are the king. We are the queen, and we own this. We are the queen, we are the king, and we own this crown. We own this. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here with all of you today. Yay! So I'm so excited to be introducing this guest. Let's see how to do this. 1 second. And if you have any questions, you can send them on in. And then actually, Myles, will you give me like a wave or something, and then I can just bring you in. Yay! So excited to chat with you. And yeah, again, if any of you guys have any questions, just write them down and ask. And yay, okay, there you are. I am going to go live. Thatcher! Hey! I'm also going to take off these earphones. Hi, Boo!
Hi.
I'm so excited to see you.
That was so beautiful, Shannon.
Oh, thanks, my
That was
love.
so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I just woke up, but I'm
I
good. I've been
know
I've been
that
really
was a
luxuriated.
rough start in the morning. I actually brushed my hair for you that today.
I know I
It's
put on a squirrel shirt and
cute.
I
Oh,
combed
I
my
love it.
hair.
You actually combed your hair. This is Oh my God.
Oh,
Wait, hang on. Okay, yeah. Took out my earphones. That was priceless. Almost lost the phone there. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay, good. Perfect.
that
Yay.
was
Okay, so
so great.
everybody, this is Myles Thatcher. He is a ballerina for San Francisco Ballet, a choreographer. Oh, he also got promoted to soloist effective July 1st, baby, but effective
Yes.
now because no one's dancing.
Right. I mean, why not?
So yeah, so he just got promoted, which is amazing. How long have you been in the company, Myles?
Um, this was my 11th year. So I'm coming off.
11
Yeah, so next
years.
season will be my 12th season. Yeah.
Wow.
I
Incredible.
know, it just flies
Congratulations.
by. It's the
Long,
crazy thing.
a long
And then
road.
Shannon was in the company when I joined in 2009,
Yeah,
and
and actually,
killing it.
I left after 11 years to go to Broadway.
Right,
Like,
right.
so you've now lived my lifespan of San Francisco Ballet, and you're like, to infinity and beyond.
Yeah, we're plowing forward.
Yeah, totally. That's so great. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. Yes.
Oh no, well, just like how have you been? How's your quarantine being? I think this is like a really
Yes. It's
strange
such a
time for
weird,
everybody.
yeah, it's super weird. I think for the performing arts in general, I think we're all
Yeah.
kind of gonna, we are hit hard in a lot of ways by just not being able to share our art form with people like a normal day in the life for us, you
Uh-huh.
know? And you guys canceled your whole season like halfway through, right?
Yeah, we got through a little less than half, and we stopped our Midsummer Night's Dream performance after opening night, and we came back to do just one live stream where we did the whole show but filmed it and did it in front of an
Oh,
empty audience. So it was really, and we had like full orchestra, full stage crew, but then like no applause, but
no.
still like the nerves from, because it, people are going to see it. So it was really
Yeah.
bizarre, and but
You're
really
like,
amazing that we could
and
like,
it's like silent.
yeah, but amazing that we could get all of like the unions together,
Yeah.
and like everybody was so just down
You guys
to,
kind of like snatched that time right before the entire city shut down
yeah,
too,
yeah,
right? Like
no,
you
it
have
was
been
two
able
days
to do
before.
that. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's
so
crazy.
that's been crazy. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, so
still,
how
it's,
have you been staying in shape, by the way?
well, I love that you think I'm in shape right now. No. But oh, so Diego Cruz, who is another just recently
um,
promoted soloist,
he's
who's
like
been in the
our,
company longer.
yeah,
Wait,
that's,
when did you
yeah,
join
the
the
year
company?
before
Diego?
him.
Okay,
16 years ago, I joined the San Francisco Ballet, and
so
he
incredible.
joined the summer after I joined, which
Cool.
is,
Okay. So you guys are
I've
like,
been here for a while. Yeah.
yeah, well, the things I've seen.
Yeah, the things I've seen, tell me something I didn't know.
Yeah.
No, yeah, so Diego just got promoted, and he's literally the best ever.
And so he took it upon himself to start World Ballet class,
That's right.
Worldwide Ballet class.
Worldwide ballet class. It's
That's right.
amazing. Like
So I've been,
genius.
yeah, I mean, he's been bringing in like Julie Kent and Angel,
I know.
and who else, like Christopher Stoll, Madame Olga's teaching today.
I
Who
am so excited about
do you
Melanie.
know her, right? Me too. That's
Yes.
at 11:30, and
Yeah.
she's this um,
Phenomenal.
drag character of an old Russian Vaganova instructor, and like I trained at Herod, and I
You
trained with Edward
did.
Elliston, so I kind of like have that Russian background. Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
went to
didn't know
Herod for a year. Yeah, and it's like dead on, like every Russianism, every Vaganovaism, but
that.
like in a positive way, which,
And
which is nice.
Olga's like no you know, like she is a phenomenal dancer, on top of it all. So
Oh my
I
God.
danced with Madame Olga in, and I'm not sure if we should even say the real name, but like I danced with Madame Olga in American in
No, Madame
Paris.
Olga is she. She is her.
She is her.
Oh,
It's
I didn't know that.
yeah, she was in
She is
American
her. I love that.
Paris.
Gender's
Yeah,
over.
the most talented dancer too. I mean, that was amazing. So yeah,
Yeah.
flexible, turning, like
Oh
he
my
does it
God.
all. He does it all.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
I'm so
fabulous
jealous. It's
artist.
okay.
Yeah,
It's
it's
okay. We have
okay.
great personalities, right, Shannon?
Yeah, that's right. So like, yeah. Well, worldwide ballet class is
Hmm.
incredible. The fact that it's just like free for anybody to join. I mean, I've always
Hmm.
wanted to take class with Julie Kent. That was really cool,
She was
right?
great. And
Yeah,
I feel like she has kind of such a public persona and has
yeah,
like lived up to everything that everybody says about her.
yeah.
Um, yeah, she's really cool. So yeah, that's
Totally.
been kind of like
Hashtag center
I
stage,
kind of stepped away.
center
Huh?
stage.
Oh my God, Center Stage. That's the major.
Does,
I almost
does
watched
anyone
that the
else
other
feel
day.
the same way about us? Like, I love center
Oh
stage
yeah, yeah.
so
I'll
much.
still throw in a Center Stage reference and people will get it, even the young
Totally.
ones.
Yeah.
And
Like,
if
oh,
not, then
I was
like
so
I send them
on.
straight to a TV to go and watch it. It's part of our culture, okay?
Yeah, it really
Um,
is. Oh my gosh.
but also like, I've been taking less ballet class and more just like my own conditioning at home, and because it's nice to kind of start to have a relationship with my body that's like outside of the ballet spectrum.
Yeah,
And since like, who knows when I'm going to be on the stage next, and like it's nice to not have time where I'm super concerned about like the aesthetics of what my body looks like in
yeah,
such a specific fashion, I
right.
guess, because that is
Yeah,
a
there's
big
no
part of.
peer pressure either. So it's not
Right,
even like,
right, right.
not even taking class and trying to show off for anybody, unless your
There's no
camera's
peer
on.
pressure because there are no peers.
There's no peers.
No,
It's
but
so
that's been
sad.
like good and fun, and yeah.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know. How about
I
you?
know.
What have you been
Yeah,
filling your
well,
time
my
with? I mean,
my
music.
body is like hurting actually because I start having dreams about ballet and that's when I know it's time to take a ballet class. It's the weirdest
Oh,
thing. And
really?
yes, like a serious
I
ballet,
like never dream
well,
about
not
ballet.
nightmares, but like a serious
Uh-huh.
ballet dream ever. Cheers. I love that.
No, sorry, I'm like propping my phone up, so
No, this is great. Cheers.
there's a candle.
So yeah,
There we go.
I've been taking some of the worldwide ballet classes whenever I wake up in time. No, I'm kidding, but whenever I feel like it, and
For an 11:30. I love that.
like crawling out of bed to go to ballet
Yeah,
class, but in my bedroom and in my pajamas, it's the
yeah,
best. That's
yeah,
kind of like my secret dream
yeah.
of like my career. I wish I could have done that
Right,
more often. Just like
right.
I kind of did sometimes, but depending on the schedule. But yeah, I've been actually just like so creative and enjoying this time at home because it's
Yeah.
actually like there is no pressure to go out at all because you're not allowed to.
Hmm.
And so it's sort of like, and if you do go out, it's like, there's only, you can be outside, but you're around other people after a while. You're just like, okay, I
Yeah,
have to go
and
home.
you live in an area where it's a little bit more
It's
densely
hard, yeah,
populated.
for
Yeah,
sure. So we've been actually driving to, because all the state parks closed as well. So
right.
we were trying to drive around to a park and they all kind of shut down.
But
So
they closed a lot of the roads around them, and
yeah, like everything's shut down. So it was hard for it to even get outside and really like kind of, do some like, what do you call it? Forest bathing or something, so there's none of that. You're like,
yeah,
never heard of that.
yeah, yeah.
Forest bathing.
No, but that's okay.
So I've been working on orchestrating a symphony because it's time consuming and I've never had this much downtime ever to just
True. Yeah,
be home working on something like that because it's
yeah,
a big
yeah,
monster of a project.
yeah.
But and it also has nothing to do with really like my pop music recording either
Right.
because there's no way to really like record anything at the moment because it's all kind of have to be in a studio to get really good
Yeah. Right.
audio. So
Right.
that's kind of on hold. And so I've been just working on my own stuff and writing music and it's been really fun actually. I have to say, like, I was already kind of doing this self-quarantine before the self-quarantine.
You're like staying at home.
I'm nailing it like a carpenter right now. I've been practicing for a couple years.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
okay, so let's go back to the beginning and let's talk about you and where you came from and
Sure.
like your schooling and all of that fun stuff. Go.
Yeah, okay. Do you want me to start? I think we're
Yeah,
both gonna
we're both gonna like
dive
I'll probably interrupt
deep.
you.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Let's be honest.
Let's see. Okay, so I grew up in Pennsylvania, um, in Eastern Pennsylvania, and I started with my very first teacher, Margot Clifford King, who I like still owe everything to, and she's like my ballet mom. I love her. We still like get together and
No
either
way.
dance or not dance. Yeah, she's so great.
That's
And she kind of like pulled me in from musical theater to dance, and like I don't know, I'm from a
wait, were you
small
in
town.
musical theater? What?
Yes, I was. It's
Where? Jazz hands?
full circle.
Full circle.
No, I
That's
was auditioning for Babes in Toyland, the musical, which
oh
I
my
didn't, I
God.
have never seen since, but
Did they
I'm
do
glad I
it?
did because it like got me into, yeah, I did it. I was like a jack in the box that danced and everything.
Wow.
And that was like the first year I took ballet, I think.
Oh, I love Babes in Toyland. That's
Yeah,
such a good
yeah.
musical.
And then, well, yeah, and um, then I just kept up with it, and I thought it was like, I think especially for kind of like my public school experience, it was really nice to have feel like I had peers that I like could connect with, and like I didn't tell anybody at public school that I danced ballet because I knew like I was already like a fat gay kid, and I knew that like it would be over for me. Not that it was
You know
ever
what? This
not
is a
over,
really
but
big problem in like a lot of
yeah,
people. So
yeah,
you're not alone at all.
yeah,
And I'm sure you know that now, but at the
yeah.
time
I
you
mean,
feel like you're on
I
an
do
island.
think like since then, I think I see that some kids might not be getting nicer, but just are more accepting of like queerness
Yeah.
or like people who are less abiding to gender norms, and I think that's really great. But yeah, so this was like a safe space for me where I could be myself and artistic and like have like pursue this weird like technique and all that you put
It's
into it, like your heart and
it's
the soul.
so much energy that you put into it too, and so much concentration and
Yeah,
discipline and time and
right.
everything. Yeah.
Well, and it
Yeah.
kind of taught me how to focus on something because I'm somebody that I think like if I didn't have ballet, I would not be able to focus on anything. And it's like, you know, this is something that really taught me how to kind of hunker down and execute something.
Yeah.
But so I did that. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and then I was kind of at a point where I was going to like 4 ballet schools at the same time to get enough ballet classes, and at like it just
That's a
started
big
to,
problem, I think,
yeah,
in small towns. They don't offer ballet every day. So it's like you
right,
kind of are forced to go all over the place. And then there's
yeah,
politics with that because
right,
everybody, you know, they feel threatened if you're taking class with another
yeah, and
teacher.
that's like, you know, any business too, and I understand that, and like some people get lucky, like
Yeah.
Christina Lind ended up training her whole life in San Jose because she
Yeah.
had like proper, you know, not only a proper teacher, because that's the thing is because Margot is still a really great teacher,
Yeah.
but also I think it was important for me to be with kids who were just as serious about it or more serious than I was, and it was really just me and my one friend Caitlin Frankenfield, who's like still dancing, um, that were serious about ballet, and everybody else is kind of more into like contemporary modern kind of jazz, like some other
Yeah.
thing, and it's just, you know, it's just a very specific art form, and I when I was like 13 or 14, I think I went to my first summer intensive when I was 14 at CPYB in
Oh, wow.
Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Well, they kind of like, you know, we went because my mom was like, well, I know they like have a big acceptance rate. So that's, I was still like, did not know what I was doing there. And then I went, and then like some of my teachers at home were like, well, this is when you're really going to figure out if you want to do this or not, because you know, you really have to take it seriously, and it's like you're dancing all day and yada, yada. And I loved it. They thought I wouldn't love it, and I loved it. And I was like, no, I need to like do this.
Yeah.
And so then I went to a performing arts high school for my first year in high school, and then ended up that like still wasn't enough for me. And so I ended up going to the Harrod summer intensive in Boca Raton, Florida, and then I stayed there that whole year.
Wow.
And that was like
Did
my
they
first
ask
year
you to
away.
stay, or was that like a?
Yeah, which was nice. I think I had some sort of scholarship situation,
Yeah.
which was great because, like, you know, our family. I do not come from a family that could probably have supported me if I didn't. And I also understand like the privilege of me being a boy, where you know it's just rare in America.
And beautiful too. You're such a beautiful dancer. And,
well, thank you.
I mean, it's like I used to do this to you all the time because I was like, God, those eyebrows, they're something else. They're like their own zip code.
They are. I'm happy I finally grew up into them. Yeah.
The best. The best stage eyebrows ever.
And then what I do? And then I went to Edward Ellison's professional division in New York. And I was there for 2 years. And I was his very first male student. And that was great. It was a lot. It was wild.
You were the first male student like
ever in his program, because he just started it the year before. And I was the only male student my first year, and we would do like well, first of all, we would do like 4 hours
like marathon
classes sometimes.
Class, right? You're like the line.
Well, in men's class was just me like trying to learn how to do double tours.
Oh yeah.
With like
that's like
him just being like, huh, and I'd be like, huh, cluck, 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 cluck. But I mean, that was great for me. And then in the meantime, I'd been to some San Francisco summer intensives at the San Francisco Ballet School, and I like fell in love with the city, fell in love with the company, the facilities, the teachers, like everything.
I know. And like Christensen is like a football stadium sized ballet studio. Like from a small studio or any school in the country, and you go there, you're like, what is this place? It's amazing.
And like you could just tell that the rep is what I wanted to be doing. Like that's the kind of dancing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because we do kind of so many different things, but we still have a lot of classicism involved.
Right.
And like that breadth of experience and like repetitors and choreographers we get to meet, I still feel so grateful for, especially being a choreographer.
Totally. Yeah.
Because you just can learn so much. Like all of the resources are at your fingertips if you choose to find them there. And I really appreciate that.
So many amazing artists too that come in and out of the building. Like it's just it's not even just the dancers, it's not the choreographers, it's everything. It's
everybody.
The lighting, it's the crew, it's the stage manager,
like costume designers. The costume department is so helpful. Hair and makeup department, like the amount of oh my god,
right? It's just absolutely incredible. Just the art, and also the theater is
really iconic. Yeah,
I mean, and it's also the more I've traveled and performed in different places, I really appreciate our crew. They're the teddy bears of the world, because they're just like, they've been there forever. They are like your grandfather / daddy, like in the sweetest way. They'll like bake cookies for you, so they're like grandma too. It's like they're the best.
They're great. They're really we love them.
Oh, they're seriously like hands down my favorite place to perform. And I think it's because of all the people in the building.
Yeah, totally.
So great. Anyway, that's amazing. So wait, I have one more question. Did you start when did you start choreographing, and how did you get into that anyways? It's very interesting route, when you're focusing just on dance. How do you balance that?
Well, when I was like really young, I wanted to do it like preteens.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
And in a way and it was like me and that friend I was telling you about, the only one that like was really serious about dance. Like maybe there were a few more. I don't want to say that. But we would, like, every break we had, every like winter break, every lunch break or whatever, we would like get in the studio or go in the backyard and like either try things for the first time, like partnering stuff, or
Yeah.
we like choreographed so many things just with the two of us, but like for a group of 20, you know what I mean? And we would have it like all mapped out, and we would like do all the parts, and
That's so
in a way that like we were really serious about it, like, and
Yeah.
we had this like, we felt the pressure and responsibility to like do it well, even though we didn't even have an opportunity yet. And I remember being really timid about asking for an opportunity, even though, because still to this point, I think that is the hardest part about like breaking into the world. And even for working choreographers, like that is kind of your like workspace, and there's only so much you can do at, you know, at home. But so
That's so interesting. So who did you ask to like get your first opportunity?
well,
And how
yeah. So then I like got shy and focused on training, and like didn't tell anyone. And my mom would always kind of like push me to be vocal about it. And then I came here my second summer intensive to San Francisco Ballet School, and then was accepted as a trainee, which was like
I remember that
my like
year.
big dream. And I like turned down some second companies offers just to have the opportunity to come audition in the summer, which was like a little reckless, but it paid off for me. Luckily.
Wow. I know, it's like, oh my God, knock on wood.
No, I was, you know, I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm happy I did. I just knew, I like knew.
Yeah, you just knew. Yeah, that's the same for
so
you just know.
So our trainee year, we all were required to choreograph. Were we?
Were you?
No, they are now.
Oh,
we
really?
We weren't, but like there was like this big festival, Assemblée Internationale in Toronto, which like was the first one. They've done a lot since, but they needed a student choreographed piece to go. So it was kind of also turned into this like competition. So they asked us, they were like, we're doing a choreography workshop. Like, if you feel so inspired, feel free to make something. At the end of the year, Helgi, our director, will be choosing one to go to this festival. So, and I knew there were like extra stakes, and I was kind of like, okay, Myles, don't, if you can't find anything you're like super interested in, don't do it. Like, only do something that you feel is interesting and something that maybe you haven't explored before. And so then, I made a piece, and he ended up choosing it, and then I got to like finish the piece over the next 2 years with that next year's trainee group. And then I got to make like another piece on the trainees, and then I made another piece on the trainees, and then the trainees danced in some of my works in Stern Grove with the company. And then he let me set. That was, I think, the first 3 pieces I made on the school they did in Stern Grove.
Okay.
Yeah. And in Stone and Steel, the last one he let me cast company dancers.
Yeah.
Or like within the core.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because I think you had like a bunch of apprentices as well. I just remember that. Yeah. I remember that year. It was like 10 years ago. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then you were on like the watch list basically from then on, right? Like, it's once you joined the company, it was like, boom, Myles Thatcher, like Rolex, the
I mean, I feel lucky that I kind of gained momentum early on, and therefore kind of like a few more doors opened for me just because of like the Rolex mentorship I did with Alexi. Maybe if I could go back and do it again, I maybe would have liked to push that back like 2 or 3 or later 2 or 3 years. But
it's funny because that always happens with artists. You're like, oh God, I needed a little bit more, like, you know, whatever before. But but no, timing is everything.
And there's no sense of like, you know, who cares? It's like,
exactly.
It all comes
like,
out in the wash.
Happened,
it's not really going to be.
Exactly.
But I don't know. It's been like, for me, I feel really lucky I've been able to start early because I already have over a decade of experience under my belt, and like working with a lot of companies. Around the States. But it's true because a lot of people kind of don't get that space to work until after they're done with their dancing career.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like caused me to prioritize my choreographic and dancing career as they're happening, because you know, there's just it's hard to fit everything into like one lifetime, right?
Yeah,
but
no,
I
it's
want to
really
do
hard
so,
to find the balance to do anything else while you're dancing full time. It's just that's the hardest thing I think for any dancer, is finding time to do something else that they're interested in that they might want to do after they dance. It's just like when you're dancing, you kind of have to be 1,000,000% in, or you just, you know, I don't know.
I think that's changing too. Like we were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, and I wasn't really part of that change, I feel like, because I felt like, especially with my music, I was, you know, I sang in West Side Story Suite at the ballet, and that was the first time that I ever sung in my entire life. Like, my parents came to see the show, and they wouldn't tell a soul that I was their daughter until like after the show, just to make sure that I was like not bad, so they would sneak out.
And then you were like the star of that thing, because I remember I got a
standing O, which was huge. Yeah, 3,500 people was the first time that I ever sang, and that is
wait,
like,
Shannon, take me back to like little Shannon, because you started with music when you were a kid, right? You started with piano.
So I started with piano. So I was like 4 years old, and we got this piano that my grandmother gave me from her grandmother. It's like this old janky piano, but I started tinkling on it, and one day, like, I figured out how to play a song that I really liked. I don't remember what song it was, but then I also then taught myself how to play Happy Birthday for my mom in secret. Like, she was out one day, and I learned how to play Happy Birthday. She came back, and I played it for her, and she was like, "How did you learn how to do this?" And she looked really mad. So I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't know who like, nobody taught it to me. I just figured it out." And she's like, "No, this is amazing." Like, she was just like, this is like crazy. You're 4 years old and you just are teaching yourself how to play the piano. Like, I need to get you lessons. So we got lessons. I had this amazing Mary Poppins teacher who, seriously,
I love that.
She was so great with kids. She's literally like the like Snow White of piano teachers. She was like, like, so sweet. Birds chirping. It's like, she made me want to play piano, and she was really good at that, at getting kids to like utilize their strengths and balance the weaknesses a little. Like, I hated sight reading, but I loved composing, so she taught me how to like read music so that I could compose my own stuff. And it was like that, you know, she still got me to sight read, and you know, so it's amazing. So that kind of started everything for me. And then there was one day I'll never forget, like, dancing in my living room with a girlfriend, and we were listening to a movie soundtrack, and it was like the credits, you know, it was like Aladdin or something. And like, I finished with the music, and my friend was like, "Wait, have you heard the song before? Like, how did you know it was going to end?" I was like, "I don't know. I was just feeling it." Like, I remember saying that. I don't know. I just,
some things never change.
Coming. Yeah. And so it was so amazing, because I was like, wait, how did I know that though? Like, there's something in me that was just like, I know.
You're like starting to recognize structure and
and just like,
and in competition. Cool.
Yeah, it was really amazing. So from then on, my mom was like, "Wait, what do I do with a daughter? Oh, sign them up for ballet class. That's what you do." Right. So I'd go to ballet class, and I was that kid that was like so serious about it in a town where, you know, it's like Lake Tahoe, which is a big, you know, sporty tourist town.
Right.
No one dances really, but they do for fun. I mean, it's like, you know, everybody up there is like, there's more studios now than there were when I was a kid that are very serious about competitions and stuff. So they're doing really well now. But when I was a kid, it was like, you know, half-hour ballet class, half-hour tap shoes.
Right,
whatever.
like a recreational.
Yeah.
Which is like great, you know, it's great. Not everybody wants to do this for a living.
Exactly right. And I think we're really lucky in America, because we sign up for dance classes because we want to do it, rather than like someone saying, "Oh, you have the right body type to do it, so now you are accepted into my school to even learn how to dance."
Right.
We get to learn how to dance for fun, and then it's like a jackpot if you like grow up and you're actually good and good enough to be in San Francisco Ballet or something. You know, you're like, this is a jackpot. It's like the American dream versus like well, of course I got in. I have the perfect body type, and I can get my leg behind my ear. And
well, but imagine if everybody else also had the perfect body type, right?
Yeah.
It's the same stakes, except just focused in a different way.
And it's
Like,
a much more intense way. But I was the intense one in a very non-intense environment.
Yeah.
So my parents.
No, I relate to that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So like my parents came to see this like parent student, like when they come and watch once a year. What do they call those? Like the
like demonstration.
Yeah.
days?
Yeah. We'll call it demonstration day.
Whatever that is.
Probably like parent teacher day or something.
Yeah.
Something very nonchalant. But so I'm like sitting on this line, and like all the other girls are all scattered all over the place. And my parents were like, "Oh God, we've got like kind of like a retarded child," like with lack of a better word. But they're just like, "What is wrong with her? Like she's not talking to anybody. Everybody else is talking. She's not like hanging out. She's like in her own place. Like what is going on?" Like, and I'm young at this point. I think I was like 5. They were like, "Oh God, like this is not good." And then the teacher walks in. She goes, "Now, ladies, you know where you're supposed to be." And everyone like scoots back, sits in line exactly like how I was. I was
where
that,
you were. Yeah.
I was that child. I was like, I was already there. You know, we have our first dance recital, and I'm like elbowing people to get in the front. Right. Like that was.
Well, I think there's something to be said for kids in dance. Like there are a lot of kids who don't feel that like speaking is the way that they feel comfortable expressing themselves, like really shy kids. And I feel like I was also that. I know like one of my best friends was like that.
Shy, ironically, but
you know, I'm not shy anymore. But yeah, I was obviously. I was kind of like, it took me a while to break out of my shell, you know.
Yeah. I think that's actually a really important like thing to note, is that a lot of us come out of our shells like later on, but ballet is a really great way for us to kind of, I don't know, break out not in a loud way, you know, because it is a silent art form, and it is but we're speaking so much, and we feel like we're
right, yeah,
the engine that's just like going like crazy. So it's like definitely broke out of my shell. Hello. So did you.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel that way. I'm like, I'd much rather kind of dance than speak.
Well,
so sorry, everybody.
It is really tough because like breaking the silence after like, you know, I was 19 when we did West Side Story Suite. So like flash forward, I got like hired at San Francisco Ballet at like 16.
And did you stay in the same school?
Yeah,
or did you go to a
training? I was all over the place. Like I seriously had probably like 20 different dance studios. My mom was like a professional driver, basically. So,
but all like in Tahoe.
Kinda, yeah. It was all within
the
Tahoe basin or something. It's like Tahoe, Carson City, Reno, all of that, and Sacramento sometimes. I mean, it was just like a lot of driving for my mom. And I have 2 younger siblings, so it was kind of a tough time for them because you know, I was taking a lot of time away from my siblings, and they were really good at other sports, and that they had different schedules. So at some point, it was kind of like becoming more and more apparent that I needed to go train in one place. And I auditioned for San Francisco Ballet School and like Pacific Northwest and ABT summer intensives. And I got into all 3, which is really cool. And San Francisco Ballet's summer intensive it's the last one usually of the season, of the audition season. And so you don't get the acceptance letter until after most of the other summer intensives like can't really, you know, it's almost like you have to choose one before you even know if you got into another one. So we had sent a check to Pacific Northwest Ballet because that deadline was before we got the acceptance letter. Yeah. And I'll never forget, on my birthday, I was 13. On my birthday, I got an acceptance letter to San Francisco Ballet, and it was like a full merit scholarship. And I fell out of my chair. I was so excited. And I couldn't believe it because I was really a big fish in a little pond in Tahoe. I was just like, there's no way I'm going to get in. Right. You know, I was so excited about Pacific Northwest Ballet. But when we got the full scholarship, I was like, okay, Mom, cancel the check. Like, hopefully we can cash it. Yeah. And so we ended up going to San Francisco Ballet School, where they asked me to stay for the year-round program. And then I was in level 6 in the summer. and I got promoted to level 7. And then the next year I got to 8. And then at the end of that year, I got hired in San Francisco Ballet, which was amazing. It was
and you were like 16.
Yeah, I was super young.
So what, you came down maybe when you were like 13, 14?
13 for the summer intensive, and then I turned 14 that first year. And I was living, I mean, this is the same, like, there's a lot of people that have the same story where they move here from somewhere, they're young, now they've got dorms and stuff that they didn't have that when I was, oh my God, back in my day. There's like people that are, you know, anyway. So, yeah, I had to commute like every day from San Jose to San Francisco, which is an hour and a half one way, on a train, a bus, you know, like walking in the city. It was the whole thing.
Yeah. Like, I did that from Pennsylvania to New York my first year. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's how I did my senior year. I did it on the commute because it was like an hour and 45 minutes each way. Yeah. On a bus. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I know. That's like,
wasn't good for the quads. I'll tell you that, in the hip flexors. I was just like, because I finished like a full day dancing and then
sleeper. Do you know how many times I almost like slept past my train stop? I mean, there were like so many really sketchy moments. I'd wake up and be like, whoa, I'm at my stop.
You know, you do what you do for the love of dance. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, what we do. And it's amazing. So then, like, flash forward, I get West Side Story Suite. I get opening night. It was like the American Idol audition every day, you know, to actually sing. It was really like probably the scariest thing in my entire life, because breaking the silence in a silent art form is the scariest thing, especially with your peers. You're like, you know them a certain way. Everyone was so nice, but it still doesn't make it less scary, you know, to do
also,
that.
I think we're used to preparing ourselves fully in a very specific way for what we do, and then all of a sudden, not only you, but you and everybody you're with is like, but how do we do this? Like, this is not what we're.
It was so weird.
Especially, you know, I don't know. Especially it's not like you were.
You're totally right. We're used to being perfect. Like, there were days where the woman that was training us, Elaine Overholt, she would have me try something new, and I'd be like, yeah, and it was like, you know, horrifying for me.
Maybe try something else.
There were days that were so embarrassing. I was like, oh my God, because you don't do that in a company. You're like, you're supposed to not be afraid to fall, but we rarely fall. And when we do, we either get really injured or we laugh about it. So it's like, you know, it's the one or the other. So when I sang, it was like, you know, just all the nerves. It was just scary. And I did it, and it felt like I stepped off the cliff, and then I started flying, and it was like, oh my God, I love this. And I had this connection with music, like, it was like this full circle moment where I was like, wow, I get to dance and I get to sing and be part of the music. And it was just like, that was incredible. So then that kind of, like, I guess Chris Wheeldon, who is the director of American in Paris, which is the show I did on Broadway, was in the audience the night of the opening night of the story. So he remembered me singing as a ballerina. He was like, okay, there's not very many of us out there that, you know, can really, like, I didn't know I could sing, and I still, to this day, am not used to hearing myself sing, but it's becoming a little easier, but it's still weird. Like, I still hear myself and I'm like, whoa. Whoa. That's just a different part of my
the way you can express yourself. Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, I'm just so impressed with the tools that you have, because I mean, like, you're an amazing singer, which we all could hear at the beginning of this, but also, like, just bringing it back to your dancing, not only were you doing things featured like West Side Story, but you're also dancing, you know, in the core, but also dancing soloist and principal roles the whole time I was in the company with you. And, like, you know, in a super refined and mature way. And I don't know, I always looked up for you for that balancing. But like, how did your relationship with music change through both, like, starting to join a professional company, especially at such a young age, which is insane, and then through kind of like this new discovery of music, and then like finding empowerment later to get you to here?
Yeah.
You know, like what was that
To
transition?
do the full transition, yeah, it's like, well, first of all, it was, I know, we're like, hi to all the people. Like, I loved the last shout out too. That was so great. But yeah, I think like the music is why I did anything anyways. Like I
Yeah.
started with
Yeah.
music. So it all made sense, and everything, like you said something earlier today and I was like, yeah, you just know. Like there's just things that you're just like, yeah, no, this just feels right.
Yeah.
And I think at least, excuse me, I'm like frog in my throat. At least for me, my voice kind of like, that was a shocker. But then going to Broadway was this like huge icebreaker for me, because like going from a silent art form to the loudest possible place on the planet. First of all, New York is loud, but also just like Broadway people, they're so open and loving and trying new things all the time, and they're just like, it's just a different loud.
And like the thing is, I think dancers are, but just within a different rubric, totally. Right? It's just a different, it's, you know.
I mean, I was playing around with music, but it was like a closeted thing, and it was more for me as a almost as like my outlet, I think, than anything. And I didn't think that other people would really be able to relate to that. But actually, the biggest icebreaker ever was in Paris. We opened American in Paris. Great marketing strategy there. But they had no piano anywhere, and I just like, I live with the piano. Like piano is like me, and if I don't have it, I feel like my soul is like missing something. And so, hi Sash, we love you too. And literally, like in Paris, it was like 3 weeks in, and I just felt like I was dying inside. So I was at this party that weekend, and there was this gorgeous piano just collecting dust, and I kind of went to the guy who owned the place, and I was like, would you mind if I played your piano? And he said, no, of course. And I was like, don't tell anybody, I'm just gonna play because I just need to. And he was like, ding ding ding, everybody. So of course the entire, and this was scary for me because I was like, wow, these are actually like real singers. So this is like a totally different place, you know. Like I'm a ballerina on Broadway, but like there were singers.
Still doing the ballet thing, because
still doing the ballet thing. So it was like, it was a perfect transition. But I was singing too, but you know, not like the singers, right? There was like definitely like an opera singer that I was sitting next to my first day of work, and I was like, I sound amazing. And then she stopped singing, and I was like, oh, that wasn't me. I'm like, oh.
I'm just lip syncing.
I'm just lip syncing. So she, so anyway, played the piano. I just like closed my eyes. And I was like, I don't care anymore, because I feel like I'm missing a piece of my soul. So I just played, and I opened my eyes, and the entire company was in tears, because it was like kind of a sad song anyways, but they were just like, whoa, like who wrote that? You know, I was like, I wrote it. And they're like, oh my God, like we had no idea. This is amazing. Have you ever shared this with anybody? And I was kind of like, no, absolutely not. This is only for me. And they're like, no, you should really think about sharing it. So that was like the key that opened this whole thing up. And then they were so encouraging, like, Shannon, play a song for us, you know? And I'd be like, oh, no, I can't. And they're like, no, you need to play, because I need you to play. So it helped me kind of the transition of going from the silent world to the loudest world, and then kind of being a part of that and like opening that door. It was like this huge, you know, like awakening for me, and like brought it full circle. So then this whole Empress thing came about, because I was like, God, I feel so empowered as an artist, because I'm actually creating something. And I'm sure you feel this way too with being an artist. As a ballerina, you are the canvas that somebody paints, and like you are the car that somebody else is kind of steering in the direction. So there's you know, a road, and you kind of have to stay on the road, but you feel like you're doing it, and you are, and you're the artist, but you're doing someone else's steps, you're wearing someone else's costumes. Well, all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, like this, excuse me, bad language, holy poop.
As they say.
Darn it. Okay, so anyway, that'll be fun to relive.
Oh, you're fine.
I know. Well, anyway, so but it was amazing for me to actually be in control, and it felt so empowering. And I was like, I love giving, so I wanted to give that feeling to everybody. So that's kind of how I came up with Empress, was not to rule over anyone else. It's just because I was empowered, but I want to inspire other people to feel the same way. And
well, I also,
that does that, and
I also think like it's always been important to me to have ways to express myself like outside of the ballet world, because I think it's for me, like the way I see it is it's a lot to ask of one art form to not only sustain you financially and artistically and emotionally, and it's like where all of your relationships are, because we're all like surrounded by each other for 12 hours a day. Like that's a lot of pressure to put on one thing to fill all of these boxes. And I think like for me, it's always important to have something else that isn't making me money, that is low stakes, that is kind of like personal, and that that I have control of. I can be a control freak in that way too. So I love it. But I think like I think it's interesting that you point out the difference between artistry as a dancer and then being in a capacity where you're really directing your own whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I think they're both really beautiful and valuable and different.
Totally. And one requires so much, it's like so much humility to be a dancer. There's always something that you could have done better. There's always something that somebody else needs. So you have to it's an incredible kind of gift to be a ballerina artist, because there's so many, you can always be better. You always, you're taking information in, you're like a dry sponge, constantly just absorbing other people's knowledge from their experience, being a sponge. So it's just like, it's an incredible thing. But when you're really in the creator seat, there's no one that is holding you back, but there's also there's no one giving you directions. There's no clock in at this time, learn some choreography, and then put on a costume and perform it and clock out kind of thing. It's just if you don't do it, no one else will. And so it's a different kind of, Anyway, love this.
Wait, I'm gonna reintroduce Shannon Rugani.
Oh, good. I love
it. So Shannon, just I'm gonna give you your Twitter bio. So Shannon was a dancer with San Francisco Ballet for 11 years and transitioned to Broadway, and now she's a brilliant songwriter, singer, composer, pianist, and she works on both orchestral and vocal songwriting, and so well-rounded and crafty. And I was listening to her Spotify as I was working out yesterday, and I think you can find that just her kind of artist name is EMPRESS, EMPRESS. So
that was right.
We'll put her info up somewhere.
Yeah, I'll share all my stuff.
But I did want to say something in regards to that.
Yes, tell me.
Because you had mentioned just, I think the difference of pressure you feel felt as a dancer versus when you kind of have full control of your art. And I think, and this is just something I think about, is why do we have to feel that way? Why does it have to be that? Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Right? Because as I kind of think back on my dancing career thus far to this point, it's not over yet, people. No, I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
No, it's not.
I know, pandemic too real.
Baby. Yes.
But I think I think it's always a hard balance of being self-critical and pushing yourself to pursue perfection, but also enjoying the freedom and the talents that you have cultivated and the strengths that you do have. And I think often the ballet mentality paradigm is look at yourself in the mirror and critique only and motivate yourself out of feeling inadequate until you get better. But that's kind of a trick, because you will never Because if that's the only way you motivate yourself, you'll never feel better.
Spiral waiting to
right?
happen. Yeah.
And so, like, as I get older, I think I've, you know, I've definitely, like, in the past motivated myself in ways that I realize, like, aren't sustainable for me, and that frankly make me want to not dance, right? Because if I'm looking at a reflection of me in spandex every day, hating myself, like, of course I'm going to be like, dude, I'm out. I'm going to go do something else that I have control of. Yada, yada, yada. But I also think that the more I dance, the more I learn that that's false.
Yeah.
And 99% of the people out in the audience are not really analyzing me and my body in the way that I think they are, but are coming to a show to experience a storytelling, or joy, or human emotion, or, like, so many things that if you only that like you kind of cut yourself out of if you don't allow yourself to, like, also enjoy the process and like love who you are as an artist. And I think that's it's, I don't know, for me it's interesting to apply, like, the freedom I feel like I have with, like, makeup, because I do a lot of makeup stuff, or like drag, or or even choreography, although there's, like, a big pressure there for me still, but I'm trying to spend this quarantine to, like, figure that out. But how can I apply that artistic process to also the art form that is really high pressure and pays my bills at the moment? And I think that's something that, like, we as artists have to balance and grapple with, like,
I think so
all the
too.
time.
So, like, just to kind of wrap it up and put a little bow on it, what would be, like, your advice for a for your younger self, actually? What have you learned through the last, you know, however many years of being in the dance studio? What have you learned that you would want to pass on?
Oh God, Shannon.
Do you want me to start?
That's a hard. Yeah. Do you have an
I'll
answer?
start. I'm gonna ask myself the same
weave
question.
up something.
And
but
I'm gonna say, you can't do it alone. Always ask for help with, and not even with just the teachers. If you have a friend that's a really good turner and they seem to, like, be very intelligent about their turning, go ask them how they're doing what they're doing, because odds are, you know, like, throw in a compliment before, and so they open the door, and then ask, how are you doing this? You know, how could I do it better too? And then they start coaching you. That was, for me, the help that I got from my peers was why I became a better dancer.
Yeah.
You can watch all you want, but they actually, most of them know exactly what they're doing. I mean, there's always a few naturals that are like, I don't know, I just did it, you know, and you're like, oh, yes, I know. I saw that. But then being humble in as a dancer is, like, that will, just having that humility opens up so many more doors than being, you know, too egotistical. Oh, we have 2 minutes remaining, so you go.
Okay.
Ask
okay, 2 minutes. I would say consistency is key.
Yes.
In the way that, like, I would tell myself to find a sustainable way to keep your love and joy for the work.
Yes.
Because the internal dramas you're feeling aren't really real, and nobody really else is feeling that. Like,
the audience,
just because you hate, like, just because you're hating yourself and you feel ugly in that moment, nobody else really thinks you're ugly. Like, that's all nonsense. And also, just, you know, every day you can be in a studio moving your body is a gift, and that perspective will, like, keep you going. And be nice to people, because the dance world is really small, and
the world is so small. Always,
and, like, we could all use, you never know, like, you
never know
what people are going through, and you can always use a little nice.
Totally. Totally. Always be kind to those, and just, like, be everybody's advocate. Like, be like, if somebody did a good job, go up to them and say, you did a great job. There's no harm. No one will.
There's no scarcity in talent.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So I love that.
I love that. Well, and then also just
Oh,
like,
thanks, Chris.
let's stick
Miss
together
you.
during this weird
Yeah.
time. We will get through it together as a collective world. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys today, or ladies.
Yeah.
And okay, Myles,
And I
what's
love
your
you, Shannon.
Instagram handle?
Myles Thatcher, Myles Thatcher.
Cool.
Yeah.
And mine is at empress.music. So make sure you follow us. And we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. I hope that we're invited back. And we love you. Bye, Myles.
Love you, Shannon. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.